According to a well-known psychologist, Marissa, attention is a mechanism that turns looking into seeing. We use multiple attentional mechanisms, mainly space and feature, at the same time, but how these mechanisms facilitate visual perception is still not fully resolved. Today, I will explain my research to help address this question. But first, what is attention? For this project, we are focused on top-down attention, which is the ability to filter out undesired stimuli in our visual field in order to concentrate on selected information. We also use our pre-existing knowledge and expectations to recognize objects. There are two types of attention we are interested in: space-based attention, or SBA, which allows selection of pertinent locations in our visual field, and feature-based attention, FBA, which allows selection of pertinent features, such as color. My research investigates the relationship between SBA and FBA during sensory processing and perceptual decision-making. In the past, we have found interactions among SBA and FBA during the decision-making processes, but interactions were absent during perception. Instead, participants largely relied on one selection mechanism at the exclusion of the other during sensory processing. Our previous paradigms were designed to elicit SBA and FBA that redundantly selected the same single item, but this current paradigm incorporates a pre-cue to only filter out a subset of distractors. The current paradigm ensures that each component of the pre-cue provides limited information, thus reducing competition among the target and distractors without entirely eliminating it. With this design, we can ask when the space and feature cues provide unique rather than redundant information. Do SBA and FBA interact during sensory processing? Participants are instructed to find a target, a square with a space gap, among 4 equally distributed squares. A pre-cue was placed in the center of the screen for participants to use to identify the target through direction, left or right, and color, red or green. After target presentation, the participant responded with a key press on a computer keyboard to indicate which side of the target square contained the space gap. In this example, the pre-cue is a green arrow pointing left. After a variable amount of time, the 4 objects appear where the target gap is on the right. The participant would then press the right arrow to end this trial. Based on the current sample size, 18 participants, we observed a significant SBA effect within reaction time and a significant FBA effect within accuracy. From these 2 pieces of information, reaction time and accuracy, we can further analyze how the multiple mechanisms influence perceptual decision-making processes. The first parameter in the DDM model is drift rate, which quantifies how fast the subjects are collecting data. Secondly, there's boundary separation, which is the response conservativeness, while the last parameter is non-decision time, which quantifies preparation time. Drift rate was significantly accelerated following a valid feature cue compared to an invalid cue. Similarly, boundary separation was significantly greater for valid feature cues. In contrast, non-decision time was significantly reduced for both valid feature and valid spatial cues. In total, all 3 components in the DDM model demonstrates fast reaction time with favoring feature cues, influencing perceptual decision-making processes. The fact that both drift rate and boundary separation were significantly higher following a valid feature cue indicates that participants were gaining more quality information, thus decreasing their error rate when using FBA. In sum, when we replicated the FBA effect in sensory processing observed in previous research, we also replicated our own previous work by finding an interaction between mechanisms within decision-making processes, specifically non-decision time. However, we once again failed to detect an interaction within sensory processing. This result adds further support to attention models that posit independence between feature and space-based attention. There are social implications, specifically in marketing advertisements, because of the use of silent moving video promotions to the public on social media platforms. The central idea of advertisements is to create indirect exchange relationships with people. Companies want to gain your selective attention because you will be able to remember the idea, product, message longer. This research has implications of creating efficient, cost-saving information that allows advertisements to stand out quickly while being easy to understand during the fast-paced life we all live in. The result is that this research will allow developers to better manage perception and ultimately impacting the decisions of people. In short, we investigated the relationship between spatial and feature-based attention during sensory processing and perceptual decision-making processes. Thank you for your time. And if you have any other questions or comments, feel free to email me with my contact information linked down below.